from Kim, and she get fucked all night.
So the Chiefs, they walk into Wild Card Weekend with a rematch against the Miami Dolphins, to which they won the first time in Germany when they probably shouldn't have if their defense didn't play as damn good as they did. And the Miami Dolphins walk into a very, very cold Arrowhead and just struggle the whole game. This game ended up not being as close as the first one, which was a surprise to me, but I think you could factor the weather into how the Dolphins performed last Saturday. I'm not going to waste any time. Let's just get into this recap. So the opening drive, the Chiefs scored a touchdown, and it was the same exact thing as in Germany. They marched down the field with ease to begin the game, and they get a Rashee Rice touchdown. Already, it's looking like Germany all over again. And so they give the ball back to the Dolphins. The Dolphins go 3 and out. They are clearly struggling early. The Chiefs then get the ball and they go 3 and out, which has been the story of pretty much the entire year for the Chiefs. They strike early and they struggle to strike again after. That's what they do. They get the first opening drive touchdown, which is something they've done a couple times in the last handful of games, and then they just struggle to get touchdowns for the rest of the game. It's odd. So the Dolphins on their second drive would run 7 plays. They get down to their own 40-yard line, and Tua Tagovailoa passes to Jalen Waddle. It's overthrown, and Mike Edwards is there to pick it off for the Chiefs. The Chiefs would capitalize on Tua's mistake by going down 10 plays, 48 yards, and getting a Harrison Butker field goal, 28 yards, to go up 2 scores just as the second quarter begins. The Dolphins, on their very next drive, would have their only scoring drive of the game, as Tua Tagovailoa would pass a deep bomb, 53 yards, underthrown to Tyreek Hill, who made the adjustment, caught the ball, and got around the Chiefs defenders for the 7 points. Yeah, congratulations, Tyreek Hill. I know how badly you wanted that one to come back in Arrowhead and put up a touchdown. Unfortunately, however, that was the only effective thing you did all night. The Chiefs get the ball back and they storm down the field again. 12 plays, 72 yards. They get all the way to the Miami 10-yard line on 4th and 5, have first and goal on the Miami 10, and they can't get in the end zone. And on 2nd and goal at the Miami 8, Mahomes threw a touchdown pass to Rashee Rice that was called back for an illegal block above the waist penalty on Jawan Taylor. As weak as I think this call was, I'm losing my patience with Jawan Taylor. He's been known to be a heavily penalized player for the last few years in this league, and I think because of that, the referees around the league kind of keep an eye on him more than any other player, and they kind of target him more than any other player. At the same time, dude racks up penalties left and right. So I'm losing my patience with him. He's a weak link, in my opinion, on the O-line. Do I agree with this call? No, not entirely. I don't think the touchdown should have been called back for this, but it is what it is. If you're good enough, you'll overcome that and you'll score anyways, and the Chiefs could not do that. They had a 2nd and goal at the Miami 18. They passed it for 10 yards, and then they had a 3rd and goal at the 8, which was an incomplete pass to Rashee Rice, so they settled for the 26-yard Harrison Butker field goal to go up 13-7. The Dolphins get the ball back. They would end up with a 4th and 1 at the Kansas City 44. They would go for it, and a short pass attempt to Tyreek Hill got broken up by Trent McDuffie. And it's a turnover on downs. The Chiefs get the ball back, and they would not take advantage of that opportunity at all, as they would just go 3 and out and punt. But then the Dolphins would do the exact same thing. 3 and out. The Chiefs get the ball back with 1:43 left in the first half. Again, they would march down to the red zone. They had 1st and 10 at the Miami 17, 2nd and 6 at the 13, and then 3rd and 7 at the 14. They just can't, they just stall. They just stall when they get into the red zone once again. And on 4th and 7 at the Miami 14, they take the 32-yard field goal from Harrison Butker to make it 16-7. And that would be the end of the half. We come back for the second half, and the Dolphins would start out with a 3 and out. The Dolphins' offense is just continuing to struggle. They can't march. They can't get down the field. They can't get first downs. They're struggling very badly. You can tell that, A, the weather's being a factor, and B, the Chiefs' defense is holding very strong, because this is a very high-scoring offense that the Dolphins have. They have a great offensive team around them, and they're just being held to 3 and out left and right. The Chiefs' defense is playing an amazing game to this point, and I think the weather was a pretty heavy factor for the Dolphins as well. So the Chiefs get the ball back. They would get down to the Miami 2016, they had a 2nd and 7. Then Mahomes would scramble for 13 yards to get to the Miami 3-yard line. So the Chiefs have a first down at the Miami 3-yard line, and this was the play where his helmet actually cracked because of how cold the weather was. And this was just one of those photos that's going to live in the photo books of Mahomes' Hall of Fame career forever. I mean, it was just... it kind of resembled like a banged up superhero in a Marvel movie, like kind of like an Iron Man type of thing. It's just a lot of memes coming out about it, Terminator and whatnot. It was a very, very badass look. They actually ran 2 more plays without the refs noticing, and then they eventually had to switch out the helmet. But so here's what happened. They get to the 3-yard line. They have 1st and goal. They hand it off to Pacheco. No gain. 2nd and goal at the 3. Incomplete pass. And then this is when the refs noticed and made him switch out the helmet. So they had 3rd and 3. And apparently, if you're a football player and you have to put on a new helmet, it doesn't feel right at first. You have to break it in. And so it was bothersome to Mahomes. He didn't even strap his helmet up before this play. And then they rushed the play. They got right up to the line right after they gave him his helmet. They rushed the play. And it was another incomplete pass. And so here's my thing. Is like, if it's that bothersome putting on a new helmet because it's not broken in yet, doesn't feel right, whatever, why are you rushing the play? The play clock wasn't an issue. It was, you still had a lot of time to get settled and collect your thoughts. You just rushed it. And then, of course, it was an incomplete pass, and then they had to settle for another Harrison Butker field goal. So this is another drive where the Chiefs get all the way down to the red zone and stall out. But thankfully, Harrison Butker has been nothing but money this year, and he puts the Chiefs up by 12 points with another field goal. The Dolphins get the ball back. They would run 7 plays. They get down to their own 34 and they stall out. They have to punt again. The Chiefs get the ball back, and on 14 plays, taking 7 minutes off the clock and going into the 3rd quarter, they would get into the red zone again, and they would actually get a touchdown this time. This was a fun play. This was a direct snap to Isaiah Pacheco, who faked the pitch to Patrick Mahomes, spun around, and got his way into the end zone. This was a fun play. This one was on 1st and goal at the Miami 3. So I would hope that once you were given this opportunity again, you can actually score this time. So the Chiefs go up 26-7. The Chiefs go up 26-7 in the 4th quarter. And at this point, it's looking very far out of reach for the Dolphins because they are now down 3 scores, and they've been struggling to get the ball down the field and putting points up all night long. So the Dolphins get the ball back, and they're trying their best. They run 10 plays. They make it down the field 53 yards, and they would ultimately end up with a 4th and 16 play, which was weird because you need 16 yards, and Tagovailoa passed for 9. Gave it to Cedric Wilson, who obviously got tackled by Trent McDuffie, and they were stopped short. The Chiefs get the ball back. And at this point, the Chiefs are just handing it off, trying to run the clock out. And so they go 3 and out because of that, but they do shave a minute off the clock. The Dolphins get the ball back with 5 minutes, 20 seconds left in the game, and they would have a 12-play, 27-yard run once again. They end up getting to a 4th and 10 at the Kansas City 44, to which Tagovailoa's deep pass attempt to Tyreek Hill was incomplete. So then the Chiefs get the ball back. There's still 3 minutes, 44 seconds left in the 4th quarter. So the game's not over. I mean, it's over, but it's not over. You know what I mean? So they're trying to just hand it off. And so what happens is they would get down to the Miami 41, and on 3rd and 7, Clyde Edwards-Helaire takes a handoff and he fumbles it. And it's recovered by Miami. Obviously, you're not going to be concerned about this. There's a minute left. You're down 3 scores. You're not coming back and winning. But it was still frustrating that the defense had to come out after earning a well-deserved break. So anyways, the Dolphins get the ball back off that fumble. They have a minute left, no timeouts. Their final play would come with 17 seconds left. It was a short pass to Smythe for the Dolphins. It was a 3-yard gain. The Dolphins didn't even rush back up to the line to run one more play. They just got up and everybody started walking on the field, and that was the game. So the Kansas City Chiefs host the Miami Dolphins in a just brutal wind chill. I think it was like a negative 27 wind chill. The temperature was negative 5 degrees. Tickets to this game, I think on the day of, were down to $25. I don't blame people for selling their tickets. I wouldn't have gone to this. Dude, my ass is from Florida. I mean, I'll go to some cold games for my Chiefs, but not negative 27 wind chill. That's insane. I think about 15 fans throughout this game were hospitalized with either frostbite or hypothermia. So it was serious. It was really serious. It was dangerous. And so really this was one of those games where only the diehards were coming out to. And I don't blame them. So with that, the Chiefs end the Miami Dolphins season. Couple thoughts. The defense is still phenomenal. The Chiefs defense, if we're going to win a Super Bowl this year, it's not going to be Mahomes. It's not going to be the offense. It's going to be the defense. They can honestly do it. Every single time, every game this year, the Chiefs has scored more than 21 points. 21 or more points, they've won. They have not lost a game this year where they scored 21 or more points. But that's the problem, is the offense has struggled all year to put up points. The Chiefs only had 2 touchdowns this whole game. The rest of the points came from Harrison Butker, who's been nothing short of perfect for the Chiefs this year. That's the keys to winning, man. Just put up 21 points. You got Mahomes. Rashee Rice has finally emerged as a true number 1 receiver on this team. I've had my doubts about him this year, but I have seen his progression. He's evolved into an actually reliable and good receiver. He can run routes, he can create separation, he can catch footballs, and he can hold on to the footballs, which is something that honestly nobody else on the team can do all those things. They can do a couple of them, but not the others. Marquez Valdez-Scantling can't do any of them. So it's really encouraging to see Rashee Rice emerge as that true number 1 receiver for the Chiefs. For the first, I'd say 3/4 of the regular season, you could tell he was a rookie. He was still learning the system, still learning how to play at the NFL level. He wasn't always running the right routes. He had a fumble, I think, midway through the season, a catch and fumble. He was utilized mostly as like a screen guy or a gadget guy, and he's emerged to the point where he actually runs routes, deep routes, and he gets open and he catches the football, and it's a breath of fresh air if you're a Chiefs fan watching this offense all year long. And for him to emerge at the time that he's doing so is so encouraging, because if the Chiefs can just score 21 points a game, that's likely all it takes to win. Now, the standards obviously are going to be set a little higher for the playoffs, because you got to think that everybody remaining in the playoffs, this is the divisional round now, is able to put up at least 20 points. But I don't know, because this Chiefs defense is fantastic. As far as this Dolphins game itself goes, historically when conditions are this bad weather-wise, teams just run all game long. No, Andy Reid came out and said, fuck it, we're going to pass all game long. And I loved that. Early on, it looked like the wind was a factor. Some of the passes weren't going where they were trying to throw them to. The wind was just kind of blowing it around a little bit and screwing up the passes. But once they adjusted to that, boy, it was money. The passing was on point. I think they passed more than they ran this game, which is something that hardly anybody in the history of the NFL has done in conditions like this. So I love the aggressiveness, the game plan that Andy Reid came up with here. Just pass, baby. I don't care about the cold weather. I don't care about the wind chill. I don't care about the wind gusts. We're passing all game long. And I loved that, honestly, because I was expecting a Pacheco game. We're going to hand it off to him all game long. He's probably going to get 2 or 3 touchdowns. Nope, it was a pass game, and it was fun to watch. Yeah. So with this win, the Chiefs now go and play their first road playoff game in Patrick Mahomes' career. That is crazy. It's actually the first road playoff game for the Chiefs in general since the 2015 season, when they went on the road to the Houston Texans as a wild card, shut them out 30-0, and then lost the following week at Gillette Stadium to the New England Patriots. So that was the last time the Chiefs have played a road playoff game. Mahomes has never done it. And I think it's good that he's finally doing it, because he's going to want to prove to the world that, hey, just because I'm not an Arrowhead doesn't mean I'm not going to be as effective as I've always been. And so I'm really excited to watch this game. I'm actually going to this game. So wish my Florida ass luck going up to Buffalo. Oh boy, it's going to be brutal. It's going to be lots of snow, cold weather, but I'm excited, because it's the first ever Mahomes road playoff game. It's a divisional round. The Bills, they beat us in the regular season already. I went to that game too. And it was a game that the Chiefs had won. If Kadarius Toney wasn't offside by a half foot, which, by the way, didn't affect the play itself at all, the Chiefs win that game. And I'm not saying they shouldn't have called it, because it was a penalty. It was rightfully called. I'm just saying it's not like the Chiefs gained an unfair advantage by his foot being lined up a half foot offside. So the Chiefs, what I'm saying, had that game won if Kadarius Toney had just been a half step further back. So I'm not too worried about it. I'm really not. I've been critical of the Chiefs offense all year. They've looked terrible. The receivers have been terrible, like historically bad. They've been terrible. They've been awful. Every single game I'm expecting drops, fumbles, drops turning into interceptions for the other team because of guys like Justin Watson, Kadarius Toney, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. These guys are all trash. They're all trash. So That's why it's so encouraging to see Rashee Rice emerge as a true number one. But like I said, I've been critical of the Chiefs all year. I think we're going to win this week. I really do. Because I don't think Mahomes is going to lose to Buffalo twice in the same year. Buffalo always beats us in the regular season. That's just the way it is. But once it comes playoff time, the Chiefs step their game up and they string together a good game and they pull out the victories. Anyways, man, that's going to do it for this one. Go Chiefs. I'll see you next week after the Buffalo game. I hope the season continues after this Saturday. I'm super excited for it. Yeah, I'm really hoping we can make our 6th straight AFC Championship game. The Arrowhead Invitational, as you will. But for that to happen, the Ravens would have to lose, which I don't think is going to happen. So we'll see you next week, man. Go Chiefs. Peace out.